You and your health have to come first, because if you've not got your health, you've not got your energy, your confidence is going to go, your self-esteem is going to go. It's going to ripple into every other area of life. And I really think if you can create boundaries around health, self-esteem, confidence, time, and energy, your major assets in life, everything else will grow and thrive around you. And the biggest shift that I see, and I said this at the beginning, is like a lot of people feel really guilty about putting themselves first. A lot of people feel really guilty about having boundaries. And the perception of it's really wrong. It's like, if I do this, people are going to hate me. And it's like, maybe the wrong people, and this is the other thing, like, you're being selfish. Okay, so you want me to stop doing the thing that's better in me so that I can do something for you. Who's the selfish one? Like, let's really think of that paradox. So I think once you really like change that, you start to attract better. When you're being better, when you're doing better, when you're growing, things around you grow, things around you thrive. And that's really the big thing on that. And I just, before we paused, another great little exercise, and I spoke about this when we did the speaking gig on the 10-day event, is the thing that really, really helped me the most was, I call it the core 4 areas of life. And so I have a yearly one, I have a monthly one, I have a weekly one, and I do it daily. So this is how I break things down. Health, mental health, physical health, emotional health, spiritual health, box number 1. Box number 2, love, relationships, social circles, family, kids, dogs. Area number 3, business, money, personal growth, education. Area number 4, adventure, life, travel. And the way I set things up is, those are really like the core 4 things. Number 1, if I'm not healthy, none of the other 4 can happen. I have to make this my priority goal. So goal for the year, then goals for the month, maybe the week, and then what do I need to do? Like, what are my daily actions to make sure that this happens? And then the same in the others. Like, if you're not, like, again, going down to love, if you're not, like, if you're suddenly feeling a little bit like isolated, and yes, we are in lockdown and XYZ, just pick up the phone and send a WhatsApp to 3 messages and start a conversation with someone who you've not spoken to for a while. And you'll notice just and that'll help you in the future. like it's just mental. And the thing that I love about the beautiful thing about this topic of conversation is it threads into every single area of life. And when you really start to understand that every single action is a transaction with your future self, everything you do, every transaction in time, every action, you are transacting with who you're going to be in the future. That text message you just sent to that person, yes, you'll feel better because you'll be in a sense of communication and connection with them, but they might remember you next time an opportunity opens up and send it back your way. Like, little things just start to ripple and echo, and you notice this in fat loss and body composition in like your industry. If we put it down into that, is like, the transaction with yourself is an echo. It might not happen straight away, such as if you eat the salad, you're not going to lose the weight tomorrow or in a month or XYZ, but it will echo through into the future. Like, and what you do today might not show up immediately. If you understand that the bigger echo will bounce back further down the line, you know what I mean? And you start leading things through that way. You start doing things for the right reasons.
Yeah, I love that, bro. One of my favorite quotes is, "Don't judge a day by the harvest that you reap, but by the seeds that you plant."
Oh, I love that. Yeah.
And dude, this is what I'm doing with the podcast, man. Like, I bought a new laptop. I bought, all the equipment, software, intro music and all that sort of stuff. Like, and, the subscriptions for, the different types of software, and spent I've got like 80 episodes or something. Some episodes took me like 5 hours to put together when I was researching and recording and editing and uploading and blah, 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 blah. So, it's been a massive investment for me, and I have not made a single cent from anything I'm doing on the podcast. But, it was never about making money. Of course, at some stage, I'm going to monetize it, but, I'm planting the seeds now. I'm creating myself as an authority in the space. People, someone that people can listen to and go, well, I trust what this dude has to say. He's put out fucking, 80 episodes. He's got these amazing guests on that are all pretty much saying the same thing. When's this dude going to put out some programs, some online coaching, some nutrition ebooks and things like that? And I'm building towards that, but again, it's planting seeds, and there's not always, like you said, there's not always going to be an immediate return. We need to move away from this instant gratification, and we need to start doing things for ourselves to, like you said, invest in our future.
Yeah, exactly that. And like the other thing is as well with the podcast is like, you've done the podcast, but the other thing is you've just created 88 interviews with different people. Like, you have now connected with those people. You've grown your connection list. You've grown your your touch points. Like, they'll be able to connect you with other people to help you. And that sort of process just in itself will grow you even further. It's always throws itself back tenfold.
That's a great point, dude. Great point, man. So many people, I've got a couple of mates that are like, why the fuck are you investing so much time, energy, effort, money into the podcast, and if you're not getting any return on it right now? And I'm like, you know what? Like, I get to talk to some amazing people, and I get to educate my listeners, my audience on, certain topics. People ask me questions, and I'm like, I know the answer to that, but I'm going to go and double check my information. I'm going to present it in a manner that, is understandable to an 8-year-old. So I'm getting to learn this stuff again, and I'm getting to reinforce these ideas, and I'm getting to talk to amazing people like yourself that are achieving big things in their own industries and in their own careers and things like that. And man, like, I'm doing this as much for myself as I am for other people. I love it, man.
Exactly.
It's part of my this is part of my personal and professional growth, bro.
Big time.
You can't cheat a long form conversation, right?
Totally. But then the other same thing is as well, like, you're actually helping people. Like, you might not be getting the money, but you might have just stopped that guy blowing his brains out. Like, your conversation might genuinely help someone who's in a bad place change their life.
Mate,
and this is the fun thing about social media as well. Like, you don't realize who's watching or who's listening. Like, yes, you get likes and validatory things, but when the DM hits from the person who's never made themselves notice, like, hey, I watched this a few days ago, it really helped, I've been going through some troubles, blah, 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 blah. And you're like, that's what fucking matters, not the likes, not this. Like, you're doing something that's growing you, yeah, but you're genuinely helping people. And selfless service will give you more growth than immediate gratification, period.
Man, you make a really good point there. And I've received numerous messages over the last probably like 9 months or so that I've had the podcast going. I had some messages before I started the podcast, but they've ramped up a little bit since I've started the podcast, where I've never heard from these people. I don't know who they are. They just send me a message and like, thank you so much, your podcast has helped me, and the content that you put out really resonates, and I love the angle that you take, and I love how real you are, and blah blah blah. And like, I've literally had people say, I probably wouldn't be here if I hadn't have found your content, man. And dude, like, some of these messages, it fucking brings a tear to my eye, mate, and I get super emotional. I'm like, I don't know how to respond to that. And I'm like, man, I'm really fucking glad that you reached out to me. I'm really glad that you're still here to send me this message, and it means so much to me. And like, I'm not doing it for those people to get those messages of gratification. But man, when you get those types of messages, you're just like, you're vindicated, right? It's like, fuck, man, like, if I get one of those messages a year, it's worth it.
Yeah, that's what it's all about. And it's maybe like, you can have £100 for the one episode, or you've genuinely just helped someone change their life who's now going to go and tell another 100 people about you and how it was you. Here's something. In school, there was one teacher whose name you remember, who helped you when you were young. Everyone's got an emotional attachment to a teacher. But who the fuck are the rest of the other teachers? You remember the person who really helped you, who genuinely selflessly served you when they didn't need to. The one that went over the odds. That person, you will take that person's name to your grave. But I don't remember any of the other teachers.
Yeah, great point, dude.